She bleeds out your flesh. She walks in heaven's winter. The halo.
Okay, Sharon, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Had a beautiful day today. Yeah, fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty fine. Finally, next year will be the year of Within Temptations return to Mexico. How do you feel?
Yes.
Why did it take so
Finally.
long? I think it
It's
was
been 10
like
years. It's
10
10 years.
years,
It's too
yes.
long. Yeah, it's crazy.
How do you feel?
Well, it's really great to be back because, well, it's been such a long time and we always enjoyed ourselves very much. And so I'm really happy that this opportunity came along. And so happy to be back. Can't wait.
And why did it take so long? It's a lot of years.
Yeah, but of course, probably would have come earlier if it wouldn't been for COVID and those kind of things. But also, to be really honest, I'm really afraid of flying, to be honest. And the further I go, the more scared I am. And
Really?
well, South America in general is further away than most countries in Europe, of course. Those are still doable for me, but when I have to go in an airplane for a longer time, I'm chicken shit. You have to
Well,
hold my hands. I'm a control freak, so I can't control the flight. I'm always a bit scared of flying. So yeah, that's really
but
truly the main reason. Otherwise, I
despite,
would come back every year.
despite the time, Mexico is a country that is really looking forward to have you here. And you have a lot of fans here. Fans of Within Temptation loves the band here in Mexico. What do you think? What's about your music that given you that special bond with a country so far from the Netherlands?
Well, I think music unites always. I think even the people from different backgrounds, different cultures. That's what the beauty of music, I guess. And I think our music has always this storytelling element to it, and also this epic kind of feel to it, and big feelings and emotional. And I think that's something probably that relates to your culture as well as to our band. I don't think the Dutch culture is as much those things that I said, but they do like it, of course, to a certain degree. But I think some countries embrace it more, this type of music, than even my own home country. So and I think Mexico is one of those countries that just likes that big, epic, emotional feeling. I think, and with a heavy background, I guess. Yeah.
You have this new album, Bleed Out, which is perhaps the heaviest Within Temptation album, I think. After so many years, do you think this is the best album that expresses your musical maturity?
I think it's a picture of what we are now and who we are now, and how we see certain things and how we express ourselves. I think it's a more open album lyrically and emotionally, I guess, also in a way. I think we've always been very uh, it was always very there's a lot of emotions in our music always, but I think with this one it's more outspoken what it's about, and it's more intense, and because of it also, because it's so what's happening right now in the world, I guess, and people can relate to that to a certain degree, even better than if you don't talk about what the songs are about, of course. So I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah.
As you said, this is a quite open album. There, you talking about certain topics and criticizing the problems of the world. Sounds like a wireless or we go to war are proof of this. Do you feel certain responsibility of trying to aware people of this through your music, having this microphone open to so many thousands of peoples around the world?
Well, yeah, in a way, it's like we are musicians, and what do musicians do? They're storytellers, to my opinion. At least that's how I see myself, as a storyteller. And like in the days when there was castles, and like 100 years ago, when the musicians were traveling from country to country, what they did is bring the news from one country to another country. If there was a war, far down south, then half year later people would know up north, because then the musicians came and they taught, they made music and telling the stories of what's happening in the world. And I think that's that essence of being a musician. I think that's important. I think the essence of bringing, keeping certain subjects alive in a different way than in the past, of course, but now more like the news goes so fast in our time, because we have internet and everything. We know what's happening in every country, more or less. And the thing is, it becomes old news very fast, but certain things you need to keep addressing and talking about, like what's happening in Iran, for instance, but also the war in the Ukraine. And of course, now what's happening in Gaza and in Israel. Those topics are important to talk about, but and by doing that, you for us, we've written songs about certain of these topics, like Ukraine and Iran. We did write something about that. We were inspired by that, so that's why we're talking about it in our interviews. And because it becomes old news very quickly here in Europe. I don't know how it's in your country, but nobody talks that much anymore about the Ukraine or what's happening in Iran. Not at all, because it's not in the news anymore. Or the Ukraine is, because we are, of course, supporting them, and but in different ways from a European point of view. And but Iran, it's already very much old news, since Mahsa Amini died because that she resisted the morality police and died in a horrible way. After being beaten to death just because she wore her clothes in an incorrect way to them. And it's very important to talk about these topics, because otherwise it becomes old news, and their fight is still going on, and that's in many subjects. We could have written about so many things in the world, even about South America, where things are, certain things are happening, and but these were the things that inspired us when we were in the studio. At that moment, the war broke out in Ukraine. At that moment, Mahsa Amini had just died, and we watched the news, and before we knew it, it was integrated in our music. But it could have been also other topics that are just as much needed to be talked about, of course. But these were the things that were happening in the moment when we were writing music.
And when you write this kind of songs, don't be afraid, you as a public person and as a famous band, of the criticize and backlash for the people that can attack the band for this?
Well, you know what it is? I believe in democracy, and I think also we have a voice. And I believe in debating. I believe, like, it's what I hope to do with this is not like we're not lashing out or criticizing anything. It's more like we try to keep the subject alive, because just by talking about it, we can bring other people to new ideas, or get a little bit deeper into the subject, or start to being interested in the subject and thinking about what is the right thing to do, what kind of world do we want to live in. I think that's a good question. So I'm not afraid of people being feeling attacked because of the fact that we take a certain point of view, because I think I think that's the thing of democracy. We can all be a voice, and we can all contribute to the debate on what kind of world do we want to live in, and what do we accept from each other, and what don't we accept from each other. There should be certain pressure from other countries trying to help certain people in need. And I think it's most important that we support those who are in oppression, who are oppressed, and to let them know there's people thinking about them and supporting them.
Well, between Resist and this new album, Bleed Out, you released a series of EPs and singles. Is this a way for the bands now to stay relevant, to stay in the main radios without having to worry about releasing a full album that many people, well, didn't care a lot nowadays?
Well, I must say that our core fans actually still love to have CDs, which I'm very much surprised about. But we're working with a distribution partner, and they said like, okay, we have to release a CD as well. It's like, CDs, seriously? Because it's going downwards, of course, with everyone. Nobody every time you release a new album, there's less CDs sold, physical CDs anyway. And it's like, okay, you still want to do it? Yes. And then it's like you still feel there's a certain group of people that still love to have a physical product, and still like to have the vinyl, which I embrace very much, because I love vinyl and I love cassettes also nowadays again. But I'm mostly also myself, I'm streaming mostly, because it's more easy, and so I understand that. So I was surprised that people still wanted to have CDs. And also we got back from our fans that they said like, okay, aren't you going to release those singles that you've just released during Corona, and after that you're just not gonna do anything with that? And we felt like, okay, so they have collected so many things of us, and then it wouldn't be like, these songs wouldn't be on anything except for the singles that we've released, mostly like online as a streaming kind of thing. So, and then it felt like, okay, that sounds that we shouldn't do that either. So then we decided, okay, let's put everything still on the album, and then wrap it up at a certain point when we have 11 songs, and then go further from that, start writing again, which we have just started with. Just for fun, seeing where it goes, not saying that we're going to have a new album or single soon out, but more like we just want to keep on going, because it's nice to do it this way. And when we do write something that's relevant or has a certain time pressure, that we can release it in the moment when we want to. And that's what we've done so far. And also with the previous ones, it was also Corona time, which made us also do what we did, is like, we wanted to keep engaged with our fans, and also for ourselves, not going crazy, being at home for such a long time. It was nice to be working on something positive, which is music mostly is. So yeah.
So, do you have plans to release something new next year?
I don't know. We'll see, because we have to make a new strategy. First, our most important thing are two things is coming to South America. Amongst that, of course, Mexico. And second of all, it's a new tour. And so we have to fix that. So that's going to be like a huge project on our plate. And so both need our attention first most. And just for fun, we're gonna write when we love to write, because that's music also. It's like, it's still also a bit of a hobby still. It's just fun. And we'll see what we do with it. If it's necessary, we'll release something. Otherwise, we're gonna wait a little while.
Nice. You know, Within Temptation is a band in constant musical evolution. You tried a lot of many styles and many kinds of sounds. Do you have a limit for this evolution, for these tryings?
I thought there was, but we're still trying new things as we speak. So it's like crazy how much you can still do, and with the same DNA, because I think we are who we are. We write in a certain way, and also people that we work with. We have a very committed team, and also people that we been working on for with such a long time. So the band, but also the producer, has been with us for such a long time, and even mixing people. It's like, so it's you don't change the DNA of with everyone that you're working with. So it's more like trying out things, but you still are who you are. I still hear the same kind of emotion when I hear the first few albums. With this, of course, it's very different. It's a new evolution, but it's still at the same time it is sorry, and it is still with invitation, to my opinion. My battery is low. The telephone.
Yeah. Well, just for ending, you have this side project, my Indigo. Do you have plan to return at some point as well, or it was remain a one-time thing?
No, there will be a follow-up. I just don't know when I have time, because with invitation it's time consuming. Besides that, we have we all have families, and besides that, it's it's a lot of work, and a lot of it needs just as much love as with invitation is getting. And my Indigo was born out of a need to express other feelings that I could display in with invitation. And it needed to be a personal project for myself. I hope there will be a follow-up, but I need to have time and space and quiet actually to be to let the ideas come to me. And I haven't had the time. Seriously, it's been crazy, especially after Corona. We had to catch up so many shows, and now there's a new tour coming up. I have to figure out how it's gonna look and what we're gonna do, with who we're gonna do what. It's all gonna be like one big puzzle still. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Sharon, we are very happy to have you here again in Mexico. Just 5 months ago from Within Temptation new show. There's only one show, right?
I think so. Yes, yes. And there's one in Brazil, one in Ecuador. Yeah, and there's 4 shows in total.
Cool. Thank you so much. And
Welcome.
really, really happy to have you here. Do you know some Spanish or something? No.
Oh, un poco.
Un poco. Okay. Do you know how to order tacos in Mexico? Just to.
Por favor, tacos.
Muy bien, muy bien. De pastor para
I'm,
Sharon.
I'm, I'm, I'm practicing, I'm listening to a lot of Spanish music at the moment, just general, just playlists, not looking at who is playing, but also because I'm trying to learn the language. My daughter actually went to Barcelona to learn Spanish. For Robert, of course, already knows really well how to speak it. And so I'm a bit behind. So I'm trying to catch up with them a little bit. And I love it. It's not that difficult, to be honest. But it's just trying to practice a little bit. When I come to Mexico, I got the chance to practice a little bit longer and more with you guys. So that's nice. I'll prepare some nice lines to say on stage.
That's a promise. We will teach you
It's a
Spanish.
promise. Yes. Thank you.
Well,
Gracias. Hola, this is Sharon from Within Station, and I really hope you come to see us in Mexico. And we're coming next year. Hope to see you. Thank you for having us. It's been way too long. Bring your passion, bring your love, and we'll have a party.